Welcome GRD132 to exercise 17 and 18, and this is basically just using some vector text and masking photos inside the text and moving it around, putting some effects on it. So just kind of a little decorative kind of exercise to work on with text. We'll do this with Gravit, but we could also do it with Photopea as well, but we'll do it vector first. Now, if you go to coursework, you'll see that there's 17 and there's 18. Now 17 is the practice one we did in class on Monday, and there's a link here to a spring one. I'll click on the spring one here, and this is one that I shared just to view the spring one. And this was the spring one we did with daffodils and tulips and rain and fishing and baseball in 2 letters. And then in class we did a summer one. So I'm going to run through the summer one real quick, and I even put the instructions right here for everything that's here. So I'll run through this quick, and remember, this is the one we did in class. This is one you could do for anything. You could do it for Pilsner, you could do it for baseball if you want to put a bunch of different baseball things in there, or anything you're into. You don't have to make a real long word, but you could do anything you want. You could do a season, you could do a sport, you could do an activity that you like, anything that you like you could do in here for that one. But let's do the practice one first, and if you miss class on Monday, we'll do the practice one. So I'll do the summer one over, or maybe I'll do winter, because I already did the summer, so I'll do a winter one. So I'll go in here, and I'll make a new one, and I'll go File, New Design, and we're going to banner post size, and I think we're using the Facebook cover, the 851 by 315. So we'll use that, and if you didn't use that, you could change it here, so if you had any problem with that. So we're doing the 851 by 315, and then you could go to Google Fonts and check out some fonts. And this is just to check out. You don't have to download anything, just browse. If you have anything open, you close it up. And I think we just looked at, and I'll try to stick to display something heavy. You probably want something heavy if you're putting letters in, although we can use script, but I'll look for something a little heavy. Here's Alpha Slab. Maybe I'll do that, and I'll do winter right now. I'll do some winter themes, even though it's not winter, but actually tonight it's very cold, so that'll be a good one. So Alpha Slab 1, maybe I'll do that one unless I have something better. We used bangers for the summer one, but I'll use the Alpha Slab 1. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to save the cloud as. So I'll put 17-winter-Homa R. I'll do that down here. And I'm putting it in the 132. All right. And I'm going to do winter and Alpha Slab 1. So I'm just going to take my text tool, click once, and I'll type winter. And you don't have to do all caps, but sometimes it looks better with all caps. I'll try it upper and lower, and then I can make it caps if I want. And I'll click off so that the bounding box is showing up, and I'll go over here and I'll type alpha. Yeah, there it is. It's alpha with an FA, and I'll make it real big. Now remember to go over here and click on auto scale font so you get that red transform handle at the bottom. That way you can scale it up nice and big. Fill up that area as much as you can, and like I said, caps works a little bit better. Let me zoom out a little so I could see it, and that's pretty good. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and that should be fine. If you want to center it, you can kind of move it. It should kind of center on its own. That's centered up and down. That's centered right and left. So if you see that kind of crossbar, you could do it that way, or you can use the center left and right, align center, and then align middle, which centers it up and down. So either way, I'll move it over because it looks a little off. So I want to have the same margin on either side. I'll move it down just using my arrows on my keyboard. So that looks okay right now. If you want to stretch it out a little bit, I guess you could. And that's perfect. And what we're going to do next, we'll go down here, type your text, turn on auto scale font, use auto width and height to remove extra space. So if you had any issue when you're working on this, just remember to hit auto. That'll remove any extra space around the box. That'll actually make it center better. And now it's centered perfectly with the auto that we used. And enlarge center your text, center, we did that. And then it says convert to path, squiggle button. The squiggle button is, here it's selected, I'll use the squiggle button, convert to path. And what that does, it makes it a compound path. Now it's kind of, all the letters are grouped. Now they're paths, so if you go to subselect, you'll see all the anchor points. But I'll go back to the pointer, and I'm going to do something else. And I'm going to go to modify, path, and I'm going to do something called split path. What that'll do is split each letter into a separate path, and it'll actually put it on different layers. Now we can name these layers, WINTER, but the problem is the dot is on a separate layer, the inside of the E is on a separate layer, so we have to fix that, and we'll wait till we mask it to really name these, but they actually go from the WI and they go up that way, so they go from the bottom up. So what I'm going to do is, if I go here, you can see that's path, and this is a path, so I'm going to highlight them, those two, and I'm going to make them a compound path, or in this case, I'm just going to do a union. So I'm going to go here and do a union. And now it's a compound shape. And a compound shape means it's not permanent. There's still a path there and a path there. So let's make it permanent. Let's use the squiggle again so that they're all paths. Because when we do the mask, we want to make sure they're a path. So I'm going to do the path again. Now it's a compound path. So anything that has two shapes to it is going to be a compound path. Anything that has one shape is going to be a single path. So the N's fine, the T's fine, the R's fine. The E, if you want to highlight both shapes, the inner eye of the E that's in there, the little hole, which we call the eye, will highlight both of those paths, and then we'll just do a subtract, because remember, we want that, since it's inside there. Here it wasn't, but we want to punch that out, so we'll use subtract. And that works, and it's a compound shape. Remember, there's still two paths there, so we want to combine them and just use convert to path. So now it's one compound path. So now we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can make two letters actually work as a compound path. If you wanted it, two letters going through the N and T, you could highlight them, and I'll do a union. So it's a compound shape. Then I'll use the squiggle, and now it's a compound path. Now let's put some things in here. I'll put something in a W. Winter. Let me just go search. Winter. Images. That's a nice image. Copy. Image. I'm going to go here on that layer, and I'll just do Command V, and there it is. I'll move it. I'll put it behind that path, and I'll scale it a little bit. Move it down. Now I'll highlight the W, or the W path, and the image, and I'll do something called Modify, Mask with Shape. Look at that, pretty cool. Then if I want to put a outline on that, I can go down here, border, add a border. I'll make it a nice blue color, and make it a little bigger. Now, when you make it bigger, you want to put it on the outside. So go to the options that are here, advanced border options, put it on the outside, and that'll look fine. If you want to put a drop shadow on it or something like that, we did that. Go here to drop shadow, use the plus sign. I usually do something like 5, and the blur maybe 7, 5 to 7 is fine. And then I usually put the opacity maybe down to like 40 or something, and that looks pretty good. And if you don't like that color of the border, maybe you want it cooler, darker, whatever, you could do that. That looks very winter-like. There we go. That looks very winter-like. And also, if you want to move this around, click on here, and if you go on the image, you can move the image around. And this has a crop thing, so if you want to crop it, you can crop the image more. You probably don't have to crop it, but if it happens to say no crop, click on no crop. That'll allow you to scale it, because that way you could scale the image and go down like that. Now, another way to do that is if you go on mask and then you use the sub select tool. That'll allow you to click on the image. If you click on the image, it's in this crop mode, and that way if you click on no crop, you could move it around, you could scale it, you could do whatever. So that's fine. Make sure you don't want to go underneath so you don't see it. So that's fine. Let's see what we could do for the eye. We'll go find something else. What's something eye for winter? Ice. Actually, I like this one better. And I'll copy image, and I'll go back here, and I'll paste, just doing Command V, and I'm going to put it behind that eye. Now that's a compound path because it has two shapes, and I'll make it nice and small. Remember, you don't have to hold shift when you do this, as long as you do it on a 45-degree angle. And I'll make this as small as I can, and I'll probably put the icicle right in the middle. Now I'll highlight both. I'll select the icicle and then the eye. I'll hold shift and select the eye, and I'll do modify mask with shape, and there it is. It's inside now. Now if I zoom in, I want to see it a little better. I want to click on the image, actually over here, this image. I'm on the wrong image. That's mask, and actually I might want to go in here and rename this layer and call it W mask, W dash mask, and now this is I dash mask. And that way I'll go on the image and I'll move it around a little bit. I didn't mean to do that. Make sure I'm on the image. I keep moving the eye. Maybe I'll just use my arrow. And I don't want to go below the eye. Let's see if I scale it. I'm going to use my sub-select tool. Sometimes it's easier to use sub-select tool to kind of move the inside image around. So I don't want to go below where the dot of the eye ends. So I'll do that. And that's pretty cool. Looks good. Now, if I want to use the same effect here, I can just use my pointer and I could click on here and do edit copy or Command C. And then I could go on the eye and do edit. I have to do it through the menu. I have to do paste style. There we go. That doesn't look good at all with a blue background, but we'll deal with it for now. Let's try the end. How about sledding? That'll work. Oh, or snow or something. Sledding. We'll go with sledding. There's some sledding right now. There's a sledding guy. So I'm going to copy the sledding guy, copy image. I'll go back here. I'll click on here. Now this is going through 2. So what I'll do is I'll do a paste. And I'll take this image and I'll put it behind the compound path. Remember, that's a compound path because it's 2 letters. So I'll put it behind there and I'll scale it down and I'll move this down and I'll move this in. I'll move this in. And now what I'll do is I'll shift and click on the NT and do modify mask with shape. And there it is. Then I have this toboggan guy in there. He's kind of cut off, but that's okay. I can make it bigger if I want. And I'll do that with my sub-select. So let me click on the image if I can. Let me open this up. There's my image. If I want to scale it, click on no crop so I could scale a little bit bigger. And there it is. And I'll kind of move him down a little bit. Now that's moving the guy a little bit. So let me click again on the image and use the sub-select, move it down. That looks pretty good. You could tell it's a guy on a sled, I guess, so that's good for now. And if I want to put the same border on here, I'll go back to my pointer and I'll do edit, paste, paste style. That looks fine. And again, you're going to do the same thing with the E. I won't go through all this right now. I'll put it behind that path. Now you could name all these images as well, but that should be fine, what we're doing. I'll move that over, and now I'll hold shift, hold the R, do modify, mask with shape. There's the reindeer. If you want to move it around, again, use the sub-select, click on the image, move it a little bit. There's a reindeer. That looks cool. And then I'll do edit, paste, paste style. And let me undo because that didn't work. Because I think I was still on the sub-select. Let me go to my pointer. I'll click on the mask. Then I'll do edit, paste, paste style. And that looks good. So there's my winter thing. If I wanted to do any kind of background on here, on the page, I could click on the page itself and go to color. And let's see, I'll go here and make a gradient fill. I'll do a linear, and I'll do maybe kind of a dark blue to maybe a light blue or something. And then you could use these those rotation things on here. And I'm not seeing them right now in terms of rotating these. Oh, there they are now. For some reason they weren't there. And I'll make them blue at the bottom and light at the top. You can always make this blue a little bit darker. And That's fine for now. But you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. Now, if you were going to save this as, let me make this lighter. This blue's too dark. I'll go here and actually make this lighter. If you're going to save this as an image, this would be a JPEG. And what you could do is save this that you're working on. Make sure you save your winter image in Gravit. And if you had a background like this, you could save one as a JPEG. So just go to File, Export, JPEG. I'll just save it in my downloads for now. And I'll just call it Winter JPEG. You don't need the E in there. You could get rid of that. I'll leave it in my downloads. I'll hit Save. And if you don't want anything, if you want it transparent, like it was going to be on a web page or something, you could just go here and turn the opacity all the way down to 0. And when you see that checkerboard, it means it's going to be transparent. Then you can do File, Export, and then use a ping so that it saves with transparency. And I'll do winter.ping. And now I have 2 images saved. And this is what we did in class with the summer one. And then if I go back to coursework, when you turn this one in, this is the practice one. You could just go in here, and I already have 2 in here. I'll add another comment, and I'll do Insert Image. And I'll upload the image, and I'll go to Upload, and I think I put it in Downloads. There's Winter JPEG. Hit Insert. Now it's 851. I'll just make it 400 for now, just for uploading purposes. And then I'll just go in here, put my cursor, hit Enter, and add another image. Source, Upload, Winter Ping, Open. Make that 400, and I'll hit Save. And there's my summer, and if I scroll inside here, there's my winter. Now the only one that doesn't look good is that eye, because the blue outline color is the same as that, so I could fix that or do whatever. But anyway, that's a sample of kind of what we did in class, and we did this too. We saved a JPEG and we saved a ping. Now again, for 18, what you're going to do, if I go here and go back, for 18, you can do anything you want. Do another word, do another season, do an activity, do something else, but do something like that. Something that you're into, whether you do Pilsner, beer, whether you do baseball or something summer related, or anything you like to do, an activity, whatever it is. If you're into math, do math, and put equations in there, find pictures of equations, whatever you want to do. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. And then we'll do one in Photopea as well for another assignment. But that's what you're going to do for one of your take-home assignments, or for one of your Wednesday assignments. We'll do 18. You'll do your own custom one. So I did winter, I did summer in class, now I did winter, and you could do something else that you want to do. So I'll do another one with Photopea, so we see how to use masks in Photopea instead of using vector masks like we were doing here using text, which was nice that we could do this on separate layers. We'll do it in Photopea as well. So that's exercise 17 and 18 for you to do, and you would turn 18 in the same way as you did this. So that's 17 and 18 for typography 1.